Cheers from Brazil. Welcome to FixerBrazil Podcast. My name is Tomás Cavalieri and I'm here to talk to film professionals from all over the world about the pleasures and challenges of filming in Brazil. And today we have in the show the journalist and international foreign correspondent for Rai News 24, Ilario Piagnerelli. He covered major international events on location, including the invasion of Ukraine, the Israel-Hamas war, mass migrations towards Europe, the Catalan independence movement, the return of the Taliban in Afghanistan, and also the big fires in the Brazilian Amazon and Australia.
Il 20% è stata distrutta negli ultimi 30 anni, secondo le statistiche, ma se continuasse...
Ilario, thank you very much for joining FixerBrazil Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with a very simple question, which is, how did you become a journalist? Why did you decide this so easy career? I mean,
So I started many years ago with a collaboration with the magazine, the weekly, monthly magazine of a well-known environmental NGO here. So you can already guess how I was so happy to work with you on that topic in Brazil, because the environment in general, nature, animals have always been a passion of mine. I was addicted to nature documentaries when I was a child, but then I also, when you study a little bit, you see all those TV journalists on TV, so you start to also develop the dream to become one of them. So I did this school of journalism, and after a while, there was this public selection from RAI, which is the Italian public broadcaster. I was enrolled, and after a while, after working in production for a while, I was relocated to the foreign desk of this news channel, which is called Rai News 24. Is actually the most viewed all news channel in Italy.
how did you move to this this foreign correspondent thing?
Being a 24-hour news channel, we always have this constant need to update our news, to give the latest, and also to go a little bit in depth with the news. So we need to be on the ground, basically. That's why we are constantly sent to assignments abroad. And this started really early on my career at Rai News. It started in 2014. And the major stories I covered were all the terror attacks in Europe you can imagine, you can recall, and also this massive migration crisis that we had mostly in 2015 and 2016 from the Middle East. And after the Ukrainian war broke up in 2022, that pretty much became my full-time job. For example, last year I spent half of the year on the ground in Ukraine, but also the latest conflicts in the Middle East between Israel and Hamas, and many other stories that have been abroad to cover in the meanwhile.
So going to these places, because one of the main subjects of this podcast is to talk about like production behind the scenes, how people work in the film industry, but also in journalism. So one of the things is to have good contacts and reliable contacts. So how do you usually contact people? Do you also already may have like fixers like in most of these places, but when you have to look for them, how do you do?
It can be the word of mouth, a colleague that already worked well with a fixer there, that is a trusted colleague. Or maybe, we have a couple of foreign desks around the world. They have a network of collaborators, producers, fixers that they can provide us. Or sometimes you just go on Facebook. There are amazing pages like the Vultures Club with maybe 10,000 journalists that subscribed that go there to find their fixers. Or there's also really useful website that I know, it's War Fixers. It's really good resource. When it comes to the TV service, we usually move around with our own TV services, which are already a provider of RAI and are based in Italy. But oftentimes we rely on the ground services. Our international, let's say, tender and purchase department get in contact with them, and they gave us. Yeah.
How do you build a trustful relationship with these people who you work with? How to make sure they provide the right information or the right access, because you're in war zones, it's very dangerous. So to get access to these places, how to build these trustful connections?
Sometimes you just have to trust your gut, and also, of course, to look at their CV. Sometimes you learn that they already worked in the past with prominent news channels, or maybe even sometimes commercials or movies. Sometimes they can even be location managers. But I think when it comes to a fixer, many times it works best if they also have a little bit of a journalistic background, so they know what we need. They know how do we, package the information. And if they also know a little bit of our culture, like in my case, Italian way of doing journalism, that's a plus, because we tend to be a little bit, not my company itself, but in general, a little bit more sensational than sensationalistic, you may say, than other more serious, maybe Anglo-Saxon outlet media. So yeah, after that, sometimes you just build a friendship with your producers, with your service there, and you keep calling them again and again.
Yeah, you mentioned something that was noted here to ask you about it, which is like this danger of being sensationalist or going too far, like when you are mostly in these situations where you have been like in war zones or migration. So how to balance, how to know what to show and what not to show on camera, or what's going too far for the audience? How do you deal with that? Because of course there are many stages. You are on the field, then there is the editor, then there is the bosses of the company, whatever. So everybody's looking, but you were the first person to assess this. How do you deal with this?
Yeah, how do I balance these two things to people's attention, and to feed them with a genuine, in-depth, and truthful content?
Exactly.
Sometimes you can just put a little bit of bait, if I may say so. So something that is catchy can be also just in the title of the thing, or in the way the anchor present it. Or sometimes a little bit of music, it works. If it's a long report, you can build a little bit of suspense. But the important thing is that the content is not spoiled. The content must be good, must be truthful, must be balanced, must be, unspun.
Yes, and you mentioned the editing and adding music. For example, I have watched some of the videos that you have sent to me, and I have been following you on Instagram as well. And some of your news, I don't know if it's in general for High 24, but they are some of the videos. They are very well edited. With soundtrack and looks like a mini documentary. Is it something that you do? Is it your style? Is something that the High 24 is used to to do, because in some stories they are longer, like 6 minutes, 8 minutes, or more than that. Because it's very good today, because with social media everything is so short, just 1 minute. You want to go in depth and get a good relationship with the people that you're meeting on the ground, right?
So it really comes to my will to when I realized that the footage is really good, that the story is really compelling, I just ask for a longer to the permission to edit a longer report, and oftentimes actually I edit myself because in the years I also took a little course of editing, and because the editing rooms schedule here in Rome is really tight. They don't give you really much time. So yeah, I prefer to do it myself, or anyway, I prefer to do it within the trip abroad, not to bring material back to Rome, but to keep editing with the crew I shot the material. So I just ask for maybe 2-3 days more to edit the thing.
Yeah, I remember when you came to Brazil to cover the Amazon fires, you edited, we helped you a little bit with the first cut, but then you edited and sent everything to the company when you came here, right?
Yes. It was a great collaboration with you, really, also when it comes to editing, of course.
I wanted to show you a short clip, then we can talk a little bit about, it was 2019 when you came to Brazil and worked with us. We went to the Rondônia State, Porto Velho region, and I have a couple of clips here I'd like to show you, and you can comment how we assessed the place, how we met the people, and talk a little bit about how we worked behind the scenes, okay? So this is in Rio Madeira River, close to Porto Velho, and we were looking for the fires, because although there were fires, we can see the smoke behind, but it was hard to assess the place. And then we had Christian, the Brazilian cameraman, and it was, I think, 5 days, 6 days, not longer than that we had to do the cover of the fires, right?
Yes. Wow. I'm in awe because I didn't remember this one. We edited more than 3 or 4 reports. I mean, there were many,
Yes.
and this was one of the best. Yeah. Also, the drone that actually I didn't ask for the drone at the beginning, and you kindly provided it to me. I was amazed, and it was not very often used at that time because it's already 6 years
Yes.
ago. So I wasn't even thinking, but in an environment like that, you need drones because the jungle. So,
Yeah, the drone was
oh
key, and we had like some footage provided by the Brazilian government or IBAMA, but we used the drone a lot to
yeah,
find the fires. Yeah, and
yeah,
it was during the Bolsonaro government, which was very, very complicated times.
yeah, and yes, I was so happy to work with when I because I didn't choose you personally, but as I was saying, it's our purchase department that got in touch with you. But when I went on your website and I saw that you were actually very used to do nature documentaries, I was so relieved. I was so happy because you really get the top quality in that field. So maybe it was more than what I needed for news, but the result was stunning.
No, it was. We are used to do, like, most of our clients are from documentary or branded content, corporate shoots, but we have done a couple of news also, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because this was a big story also for us here in Brazil at the time. And I wanted to go there because for me also, as producer, as fixer, it's good to go there, because I remember I made a couple of contacts there that I still use today when I need to go back and film. That's also another thing for people who work as journalists or producers. You need a good contacts, right? So and I believe if you need to come to Brazil again, we already know each other. If I need to go to Italy, I know that I can contact you, right? This is an important part of producing news, right?
You know, today social media are, I can say fortunately, unfortunately, whatever, as the main source of news sometimes. So what is different? What's still significant to still keeping doing TV, news, television, that you provide quality? And after we talk a lot about the quality of the news itself, you know, in the era of the fake news, but it's often forgotten that one of the main things is visual quality also. So TV is still able to provide visual quality because they rely on professionals, and they still have not all the time, but many networks still have the money to do that. So we have to really cherish this aspect of our job.
You're right. I want to play another clip, which is from the Indigenous people that we interviewed, Antenor Cariciana. You sent me this clip, which is, this is one of the stories that I mentioned before, which is longer. You have like a silence, you have him walking around and looking and staring. And I remember you edited this during your stay in Brazil overnight, I think it was. I remember we went back to the hotel the next morning. You already have everything edited, and this is a very beautiful, very beautiful story. And I think through this story, people can really connect in the audience to understand what was going on in the fires there, right?
L'Amazzonia, devastata dagli incendi, vista con gli occhi di un indio. Antenor è un capovillaggio dei Cariciana, una delle oltre 200 comunità indigene che ancora popolano la foresta pluviale.
So we found this character, Antenor Cariciana, from the Cariciana indigenous people, and we went to this place, which was a farm devastated by the fires, and I really love this video because we have like his eyes, and he's really emotional, like walking around and seeing everything burnt, and the animals, he talks about the animals and everything. So it was your idea to do this, like not only interview him but bring him there, let him walk and contact. This is documentary. This is why I really appreciate your work.
I'm still amazed of how we managed to do this so quickly. It was really improvised because the idea came up to my mind maybe 2 days before. I asked you, find me a tribe chief, maybe with some of the traditional, dress. I want to show him among the destroyed forest, which for him is actually his house. And I'm really amazed of this top quality we got. I'm sure documentary producer, to get this result, they used to plan it way before. Well before, but we didn't plan. So we were we reserved an award for this, especially you, for the way you filmed, for the use of the drone, for providing me, for getting in touch with this amazing tribe chief, Antenor. It was amazing, really.
Yeah, and I remember the day before we found this place, like following the environmental police that was looking for these fires, and then. You had this idea, okay, let's find this chief and bring him here. And yeah, we moved fast. We also were lucky because he was a good character. And at the end, he was singing. I don't know how we found this, but he was singing the song about the forest and everything. So it's very emotional, very slow pace. Like for news, this setup we did for the interview there, and it started to rain, stopped to rain. So we had luck. We had many factors involved, which is part of journalism. Is part of documentary news, right?
Yeah, and I remember I did a lot of research about the species that he was mentioning during that song, because there are really specific species of animals and plants, and there
Yeah.
wasn't ChatGPT at the time. So I spent a lot of time research because it was so good that I wanted to be really precise on every single aspect of this report that was like maybe under 6 minutes long, between 5 and 6 minutes. So it's a pretty long report for TV.
Mo imbot na ko kinda o hananyo, imbot na ko hipit sa pahananyo, kahit may takaki iya kay echa, ite ano ko eye pita mo, mo ite ano ko pampita mo, ite ano ko eye pita mo, kinta may tim a may tapopi.
And it was so much appreciated at the channel that you can't believe how many times it got aired. And I'm really proud that we really managed to make the people aware what is the process of destroying a forest. You begin with selling the most valuable big trees illegally. Then you burn it in order to start grass growing. Then you allow the cows in. Then you maybe decide if to leave for the cows or to grow, soy or corn, and that's the way. So it was really fascinating in a bad way, let's say, to learn that it's a kind of an industry, completely illegal, but it's really well planned.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, I want to ask a question, but I think I already know the answer, but I want to hear you saying it, which is like you still believe in the news and this kind of stories, like to change the world, to promote change, because I think this is part of our mission, right? How do you think about it?
Exactly. Yeah. But even in words, I mean, now that you ask me, I remember something that I was thinking when I was in Ukraine the first time. We were traveling in these really ravaged villages, all houses destroyed, and my brain automatically made this connection between that and the forest. I remember thinking, we are making war on nature. We are waging a war against all the animals that populate the Amazon. We are destroying their actual houses, just like Putin is destroying the Ukrainian people houses. So, and this is something that many people that's watched the report may have think, because if you show also the beauty to the people, the beauty that you are about to lose, of course they get more involved in saving it. If they think everything is lost, there's no need to fight.
As you mentioned, like you stayed in Ukraine in the previous year a long time, and also you also covered. I have noted here so many things that happen in the world today. You were like watching it firsthand, like the migrations towards Europe, or the coronation of King Charles, which was also big, or the Israel-Hamas war. You have been like in very important sites when things happening, and sometimes when you're in the location is hard to have the big picture, right? Being in location is very important, but also connecting to the big picture of what's going on.
Yeah, you don't want to get lost in the details, because
Correct.
when you follow a really narrow story and you work for the news, you're not doing a documentary, the risk is to get lost in the detail because it's really a small story that you are recounting. But that's why you have multiple sources. And I'm not ashamed to say that sometimes I'm really happy to insert news agency material because we are subscribers, we pay for it, so why not to use it? News footage material, news agency material in our report. Some colleague of mine there, they don't agree. They say it must be 100%, first hand. That's not true because when you have to give a bit of context, when you have to tell about what are the policies of Bolsonaro when it comes to the Amazon, you have to show Bolsonaro. You have to, and also, of course, while we were shooting for these beautiful reports, I was also doing lives, as you remember. So in every live, I was giving a lot of news, a lot of context. So it's a really good balance when you give the general concept, the general news, and then you like zoom on some specific story that gives weight and content and beauty to the stories that you are telling people.
Makes a lot of sense. And you mentioned that you edited already. And remember, you took the GoPro that we have sometimes and shoot a couple of shots when you came. But are you also into like filming, shooting, doing camera work, or sometimes it's required because you are by yourself? How does it work? Because I have seen some videos. I don't know which of them that I saw. I was looking for who's filming, and I saw. The shade, it was a person with a GoPro. I don't know if it was yourself or the producer. How do you do this mostly in these situations when you have to be discreet? I mean, people cannot see big cameras or big journalist crew.
Yeah. So I received a bit of training with camera, but I gave up cameras because it's really difficult. You have to be a professional to use a camera, and of course, camera footage has a lot more of depth, a lot more of sharpness. I mean, it's better all around, better. But sometimes, if you can integrate the work of the camera with a telephone, with sometimes a really wide shot. So you can enrich your editing with for example, you're doing an interview, you just place in an iPhone on a furniture, and you have the shot of the room of you and the interviewee. And also sometimes, many times actually, especially when you are in war zones, you don't have the time because of safety reasons. So, and you don't want to rely only on the camera because maybe some detail, cameramen sometimes are really, not all of them have you have it, of course, because you're one of the best I work with, but you have to have two eyes, one on the target, on the thing.
Viewfinder.
The other one, you have to look around for what's happening. Not every cameraman does that. So some of them are only focused on the thing and they don't see what's happening. And if they miss that, for example, an helicopter is flying really low in front of us, maybe you can catch with your phone. So it's a really good way to, as an integration, yeah.
And you that have been in very difficult places or places where like people are dying because of war or because of illness of migrants who don't have a place to stay or anything else. It's more like a humanistic question. I don't know if this is the correct word, but do you still have faith in the humankind, like to solve all of these problems? Because I can imagine, I am a journalist myself, but when I started working, I went to film production and production company, so I was never like on the field like in events like this. And I worked for ESPN Brazil, which was like sports channel, X Games, all that fun and things. But you have been like in very hard places. I want to hear like you still believe that we can solve a lot of these problems that we're facing today as as humankind.
we can't lose hope, because if you lose hope, it's better for you to die now. So first of all, but one of the peculiar things that I would never imagine that would happen to me is that when you witness wars, even calamities like earthquakes, you get in touch with both evil and good, with the worst, but also with the best humanity can do. So when you see people helping neighbors to rebuild or even just to clean a house after the neighborhood was bombed, when you see rescuers that are risking their lives, because oftentimes when they bomb twice. So the second time they kill the rescuers. Nevertheless, the rescuers come and do their jobs. When you see food distribution for those that were left without a home, it's you can't help being moved, being really touched by that. So you really see the extremes of the good and of the bad.
I think you learn a lot when you go to places like this, like you said, the best and the worst. And I want to talk briefly about another subject which is very trendy today, which is the artificial intelligence, AI. How has it impacted your work as journalist? How are you using it? What is your view of this?
Sometimes you just need an information quickly, and for example, you are about to go live, and there, you know, we know that these systems are often mistaken. They tend to also confirm your preconceptions. So you to be really careful in using that. But when you ask something that is really up to uh, a really how might I say sedimented information, like it's something that you can't get wrong. When was this person born? And you really need that information on time. You just ask artificial intelligence and you get it. Or it can be a starting point of an in-depth research. So uh, you ask for a quick scheme of things you need for your report, let's say, and you have an idea on how to navigate the information, then you go to find yourself. But you need it to give you the reference point of the story. So it can be really useful. As for the visual aspect of our job, fortunately, we're not cinema, so we still need real images, real footage of the reality around us. So I don't think that will change, but it's helpful when you have to do something, in the studio. You need some beautiful graphics, and the graphic department is over but they are overworking with some other department. They can really get you what you ask for. For example, a few days ago we were doing the little photos of the so-called papabili, so the cardinals that want to be pope. And often those photos are really few because they're not famous, they're low quality. So I asked ChatGPT to make all these beautiful portraits of those, like, let's say 20 cardinals, and they were all beautiful, like they were painted on a wall with a beautiful black background. Yeah, so I see this danger of losing their jobs for someone that is that works in some graphic department, but maybe not, because it will be just a new tool for them to improve their job, to further improve their job.
Sure, as we have like new cameras, high-speed cameras, or cameras with high ISO that film almost in the dark, all these new technologies or drones. AI is another too, and we have to know how to use it for the good, right? I think it's in general is like this, right?
Exactly. I don't see a scenario where there will be a massive job loss in the media sector. Yeah, unless you work for some really low quality media, because there are some, for example, news websites that they just gather information on other websites. They collect it, they change a little bit, they summarize, they embellish with some shit, and they put on their websites. That artificial intelligence will do that really much faster, and yes, in a much productive way. But these are media that, I mean, I will never be informed with daily.
Right. And for someone who wants to be a journalist today, who's starting the career, like someone who is studying, or to be a fixer or a producer, which are the main skills or the main tips that you give with the experience that you already have accumulated in these years? What do you think?
Yeah. I would say to be curious. To be curious. If you are someone that doesn't is not satisfied of what people tell them, or everything you see around you, you want to know more, regardless of is something that you will you imagine doing in your future, but you're just curious. I mean, you're driving, you see I don't know, an energy plant, how does it work? Then you go searching, that kind of attitude. Also to be really adaptable. Yes, to challenging environments, also to challenging schedules. Someone that doesn't look at the watch at the time at the end of the day, but is ready because you have passion, so you're ready to work until 4 a.m. Yes, but keep in mind that is a really, 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 really hard field to live with, because it's not like 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Really few people that want with this dream to be a journalist can at the end they manage to live out of it. So sometimes many of them are freelancers, and many of them are not really, I mean, they don't really need uh, they already have the means to get by in their lives because of rich family, whatever. But really, I, I, I I esteem really much those that are freelancers and also really live of that.
Very interesting. And how do you see like the future, or how do you plan for the future of your career? I know for the next months or next year, you're gonna be around this Ukraine war and other things around. But how do you plan for the next 10 years, let's say, of your career?
I don't want to rely on wars.
Yeah, hopefully we're gonna have more peaceful time,
Exactly.
right?
I want
Yeah,
them to end all.
finish and
Yes, and I don't know if I will still be interested in general news, because general news you always feel like an ignorant, because it's always a news story that most of the times you know little about. So maybe to specialize in something, but I haven't choose what actually. So yeah, maybe I will just, but I don't know if because we were speaking about that. You're not really free to choose if you want to live of that. So I don't know. Anyway, it's really rewarding also in staying in general news in a news channel, because you have this thrill every day. this dopamine shot of doing something that you weren't expecting the day before. So not clear ideas. Many of my colleagues maybe dream to become fixed correspondent, when you move abroad to one of our foreign branches. Let's see.
Only the future knows. And
Exactly.
well, you have your Instagram. Maybe if people want to follow you online,
Yeah.
you used to post a lot there, right?
Yeah. I want to add that the best things in life are those you don't plan. Anyway, yes, my socials, I use really little Instagram. Anyway, I put my reports on Instagram, of course. It's my name, Ilario Piagnerelli, written Piagnerelli with two L at the end, and
Right.
Facebook. But I mostly use X.
Okay, you're on X as well. Right.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
yeah.
this on screen so people can find you online. All right. It was a great conversation. I appreciate a lot. Again, congratulations for all your work.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure for me to accept this interview, and I really still remember with nostalgia those beautiful days we spent together in the Amazon.
Okay, and also as you mentioned, also regarding the wars, I also hope to work with you, good, but again in Brazil, but not in the fires. Maybe showing the uh, beautiful part of the Amazon, the indigenous people, and the forest, the beautiful forest that
Yeah,
you have here.
yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.